Greetings and welcome back. Welcome to a new series for our Sengoku Dynasty playthroughs. In this one, we're going to be playing through the Kaizen update and looking at the new management that we have to do with our villagers now that the no consequences mode is officially off. So now we do have to care about the villagers' needs and really dig in on that one. So we won't just be running through and taking on a million villagers and just building as fast as possible. We'll actually try to gradually progress and make sense out of how we make those connections. So we'll work with those new changes, and I'm excited to see what happens with it. If you're new here, hi, my name is Keen Fool. I play games like Medieval Dynasty and Sengoku Dynasty, try to give tips and tricks along the way, and also just have enjoyable, relaxing playthroughs. Let's start a new game. In our last game, I built Seaside and Lakeside, and in this episode, I'm going to help you get the best start you can with your new village, since in this playthrough now with Kaizen, we actually have to care about how our management style goes in our villages. When you start out your game, I'm going to start with custom because there's one thing that I'm going to change on it. That's about it. And I think the rest of these you change as you see fit. Always play the game the way that you want, the way that you have the most comfort with it and the most joy. I'm going to leave these off because I still want the challenge of getting defeated, but don't really want to get defeated. This one I almost ran into because I built that giant bamboo thicket for our training ground, but I don't think we'll have to worry about this time around. Growth speed I'm going to keep at 1, but I'll do some research on this one later. I like having it as a minimum of 1 day, just because if you really want to rush through a season, it's nice to only have to do 1 day's worth of prep to go. If 4 is fine for a maximum, I think that works well. This one is the one I always check, and the reason why is that every time you click your mouse, the left click, you put a single resource into your building, and it makes it go way faster. You don't have to just wait for the character to finish their build animation. I'm not going to use instant build because it just basically allows you to build everything for free, and I don't want to play that way. I want the survival aspect and the gathering aspect still here. And I like unlocking the recipes, even though it's frustrating getting to that point. Oh well, it's part of the game. With that, I'll see you in there and we'll get a start here. Greetings, and here we are at the start of the game. I skipped over the intro credits, or the intro storyline. You all will have seen that if you wanted to, otherwise if you've already seen it, skipping through is probably what you did as well. First thing we're going to do is obviously gather up all the things that are around us here. There's a torch you can get in here, there's a plank which unlocks schematics for a plank. This one sometimes I have a little trouble reaching to. There's some sticks, there's some items here. We can also gather up some rocks, and we can gather up some schematics in here for things. There we are, firewood and a free stone. I swear there's one more thing in here. There we go, a recipe for drinking or warm drink. And now what you can do in this game is you can hold down E to gather. Now bushes will get you sticks, you also get sticks as you fell trees, and stones you can gather from the ground. Now for the start of this, before we begin, I'm going to gather up all those stones and I'm going to make an axe, and when I right click I can see that I want to make an axe with 3 stone and a bunch of sticks. I'm going to gather a bunch of stones up and I'm going to chop down that tree before we leave, just so I have a bunch of resources. So what I recommend as you begin in this game is get a bunch of resources to start with. I know whenever I start out a survival game, I end up gathering a ton of just resources that I know I can build with, so that as I go into my first village, I just have a bunch of things that I can work with already. So by all means, gather up all the things that you want, and oh, look at that, a free seashell. Seashells sell for decent money, so those are worth having as well. Right, with that I'll make an axe, and we'll chop down this tree as our first tree, and that'll allow us to have, see that, it gives us more unlocks. When you chop down trees in this game, you're going to get the tree to separate, and then 2 more strikes and you can start collecting. I recommend at the start of the game striking these logs with your axe, as it gives you sticks, and you're going to need a lot more sticks at the start than you will bark. And with that, we can now build a hammer. Oh, we have to have empty hands in order to do that, so I press 1 again, and then I get my hammer. Alrighty, with that, I will now meet you on the other side of things. So I'm just going to gather a bunch of resources through this little natural corridor. I'm going to gather all the sticks, stones, grass, and things that I can. See you there? Alright, here we are. I ended up collecting that gobo, and I ended up collecting a good amount of stuff. I didn't collect everything, since I don't want to spend my entire time here gathering all the things. As much as I can stand. I do think gathering some grasses now is a great idea, as we are going to end up building with these when we have our early houses. The first beds you make are made out of grasses, so that is worth having. And you'll notice that all the time whenever I'm gathering all these things, you end up getting new recipe unlocks, which is nice. So we get a few of these things we can build up at the start, so that we can continue through the game with more and more stuff that we can do. Right, and the fact that we have our axe already and our hammer is going to help out a bunch too. Now we don't need everything, right? Let's go. To talk to Akko, all we do is finish up our quest line. We press E to talk to her. And I'm going to skip through all these things as you have already seen this before. Now, we made that hammer. Next thing I would suggest is you always place anything that's a tool that can fit into a hotbar slot. Toss it into a hotbar slot that works for you, since you'll notice that now I have more inventory space free, which is super handy. Take out my hammer, and then I'm going to build that basic structure and get things going. This is that speed clicking. I just rapid click through it. Alright, we built a hammer, and now we can talk to Akko, and we can start going. Alright, that's it. We're going to move through a lot of this stuff fairly quickly, so I do just want to get all of this stuff going, and then we want to build as soon as we can. There's a bucket here that's worth getting, and definitely recommend that. We have a new Dynasty level. Well, that's fantastic. With that, we're supposed to go talk to the nearest village. Alright, well, let's do that. Get some grasses on the way, just a couple. 36 grasses should be pretty good for me. Now, normally in this playthrough, and when I do this game, I tend to start in this village. This is the fast travel location. You can use this right away from the start. Now, I'm not going to use this as our foundational village this time around. For you to note, just if you're new here, when you tear down these buildings, you get free resources, which can be really helpful. That charcoal we will use in just a little while, and these planks are handy at the start of the game. You don't have to gather everything in here, but you do have a wealth of resources just sitting in this village. Toshichi will have villages for us, or sorry, Toshichi will have quests for us in this village, so let's get that going. We have our bell, and with that, we're going to go and begin. You are going to end up coming back to this village a lot at the start of the game, just because the early quest lines give you a good deal of experience, and it's worth the time to do that. But that's not where we're going to start. That's not how we're going to roll through this. What we're going to do first, and what I'm going to recommend is, take some time and gather all the seashells that you can stand to gather. Now you're going to be doing this, and I'll show you the pathway, and I'm going to do this and fast forward through it. I'll meet you at the other side of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to gather seashells on the shoreline here. I'm not going to go too far into this one. They don't tend to be in here, so I'm going to cross and then go down this shoreline. This will be where we do another fast travel unlock at Enduro. Go down and around. There's going to be a quest we can unlock here, and I'll meet you at these two spots. And then I'll continue down. Actually, I'm going to probably stop here. And then we're going to go to Segi. I want to get this location, Segi, as a fast travel location. This one being Aratani, the farming village. I want to get that as an unlock for fast travel. And this is the now called Temple location. It used to be called Monastery that I want to get my unlock for. And finally, my build location, I believe, is going to be somewhere up here. So we'll have to double check. I got to see if I recall where it's exactly at, but we'll get to it. I want to try a neat little area where there's a giant grassy hill and a pretty river running through it and some bridges. Now, if you want to know the best locations to build at, please check out this video here that I'm going to put into the video that you can click on. Alright, with that, gather all of your seashells and I shall see you at the other side of the fast forward. And by all means, as you travel through, keep in mind you might run into trouble. You can outrun anything in this game at any time. So if something's chasing you down, just outrun it. Keep going. If you have to, run out in the watery areas. They don't tend to follow out to there. But if you also want to defend yourself, you should have collected some logs by now. You could easily make some wooden yari. Just be ready that they're not very strong and that the enemies will probably knock you back a little bit. See you in a little bit. And here we are at Enduro, and I got chased in here by a boar, the darn thing. There's a cave here that you can eventually explore, but you will need a steel pickaxe to get in there. Here's our new fast travel location to Enduro. There is going to be a person you can sell to, actually two people you can sell to. Here's our first. I'll press F, and then what we'll do here is I don't want to carry around all these seashells the whole time, so that gives us 660 coins. Now I got a lot of seashells so far, right? And a number of pearls as well. I find that to be really handy at the start of the game here. What we'll do as we continue forward is you can, if you want, sell some of your seashells to the other merchant inside here. I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to continue on down the road as I want to keep gathering seashells and get myself to building my village up. Around this bend here, we're going to find that temple. Alright, I gathered a number of seashells all around here, and these seashells, by the way, the reason we're doing this is that this is a quick injection of money into our pockets right at the start of the game. Do you need to do this? No, but will it set you up with a nice amount of extra supplies at the start of the game? Oh, absolutely. And it takes you basically nothing to do it. And by all means, if you don't feel like doing the seashell part, then you skip straight to the whole traveling to locations. Now, you probably wouldn't have heard this though, would you? Inside here, there's going to be a priestess. We want to talk to her and just get this quest unlocked quick. There we go. We can always come back and do this quest line later. And by all means, keep in mind that she's going to give you a wand. You do not want to do anything with this. Make sure it goes into storage until you do this quest line, because you need that wand to complete the temple repairs. The bridge repairs for the temple, I should say. Alrighty, and the last few shells are here, and it's time to start going inland, and it's time to get to Segi. That's the first fast travel location where I get. Now with all of these shells that we've gathered up, you can easily take them, sell them, and buy yourself a bow to defend yourself with, which is nice at the start of the game, or whatever else you choose to get. I'm going to choose to get a bow just because I want it done. So with that, I'm heading inland. You will note that as you travel inland up over here, there's going to be a roadway that we can travel through. And there's going to be gorgeous trees, of course. If you want to make your life easier, travel on the roadway to get to Segi. I will probably overland it and just rush through these faster pathways that go between things. There's a slight risk that you'll run into wolves along the way, but you can always outrun them as long as you continually kind of pace yourself and go. There will be refugees along the way. We are not ready to hire on people, but refugees can be found out in the open. They will also travel straight to your village bell when you have your first bell, and you can also find collectioners of refugees at the towns. With that, you'll notice that I am here on the map, traveling inwards, and we'll follow this river, which will get us to Segi. Here we are, already in Segi. The bowmaker is generally somewhere over on this side. I usually find him over here by this time of day. It looks like today won't be the same as usual. But I can always travel. Oh, I can trade with her. So it looks like we're only going to be able to buy the easy and cheap types of bows, the short bow at the start. I'm going to buy myself a few arrows. Why not? That'll be the end of my cash. But then what we'll do is we'll sell off a bunch of these seashells. And now I've got 15 arrows. I think 15 arrows ought to do for the start. Oh, but I know I want more. And I can always sell more to this person. I can sell anything I want. I have tons of things to sell here, which will help me out a lot. The reason we're here is to just get the fast travel location. And by the way, all of these bells are used for fast traveling. You just click on it, hold down F, and now we can go back to Sosogi or Injiro. But we're not done yet. We need to go somewhere else. I now have a bow. I'm going to follow this roadway, and I'm going to get to Aratani. The reason for following the roadway is the roadway tends to be safer and easier to travel. You don't have to do that, and I will definitely put my bow into one of my slots so I can actually use it. You need to put your arrows into your quiver or your arrow inventory location, and then from here I have another thing I can put here so I can carry more, and I can always eat the rest of these foods to clear up inventory space. There are some small bridge projects that we'll deal with later on through here. But I'll see you in Aratani. And here comes Aratani. We'll have to cross this river, and you'll see that there's a bridge project here. This bridge project requires multiple workers, and you complete it by having those workers at a special project that they work at as the seasons change or during the seasonal changes. They require a lot of resources at the start, so you dump resources into a special project, which, by the way, with your hammer out, you go to basic structures and special project construction. You need to be Dynasty level 3, but honestly, you'll get there in no time. And here's one of these small refugee groups. They have a little shelter, and you can hire all of them on when you're ready. Aratani we have for a fast travel location because we want to be able to buy resources from them. And one of the things you can buy from our food traders, which is what I really want to find, is you can buy the bags of seeds that allow you to plant fields. At the start of the game, I like to have access to millet because you can make really good recipes out of it right away. And I also like wheat, but I don't see them having access to wheat right now. Don't buy the other herbs because honestly you can find them places. And if you can find them, you're doing it better. Wheat, when you buy some of these basic foods too, you can craft the seed bag, but you need leather. So that's a trick with that one. I can also take my stuff and just sell it here. And there we go. No seed bags that I want to buy just yet, and we'll head on to our next location. I changed my mind, but no. Now, from here, it is time for us to move on to the temple. Here's another small bridge project that we can take care of. Those are completed fast, which are handy. We're going to head up this hill, and we're going to keep running up that hill. So we're going to get up this hill, and we're going to get to the temple, which, by the way, the easiest route I've found is you just go straight up this way. And you can kind of see there's a break in the trees there. That's the route we're aiming at. It'll get us there pretty quick. See you there. One thing I forgot to mention is it's really helpful to gather up things like these crow's nests as you go. It'd be tempting to take down some of these bamboo trees, but I don't have the right axe for it, so I'm going to run around this way. The taro, you could definitely take this and eat it, or just have it. Oh, bears, how about that? I will definitely be running past them. As you get to this part, it's all about just getting up the hill and just kind of find your way through that part. And this is definitely a workable route. There we go. Here we are. We have reached the temple. Within the temple, you will end up completing the mainline quests, where you get more village bells, allowing you to build more villages in the game. You will also find that there are refugee camps here. There's a beggar here who sells you things that can be really helpful, as in, if you don't have rot at the start of the game, because you probably won't, and you want to build the compost bin, you can buy from this guy for very cheap. Sometimes he has feathers, and it helps a lot too. It saves you from having to gather them, and it's quicker than having to get them. The exotic goods trader is really worth your time, because for now, I will double check this as we play through, but you can't really make paper lanterns on your own, so you kind of have to buy these to make those. You will notice that he has a number of other things like these statue pieces that can be used to make your shrines, and there's not really much of a way to get that quite yet. With that, we have traveled, we have gotten our locations that we needed, and something of note for these, I'm going to get rid of my things. It was left clicking puts these down, left clicking removes them when you're highlighting them. Now that we have our locations, it's good to go. I only have one to go, and that's Iwasaki. I don't tend to like to travel this route because it's busy. There's a lot of things on the way, a lot of wolves on the way between here and there. I tend to like to travel this way to get to Iwasaki, and I'll do that later. You'll notice that I encountered a bandit on my travels. I just ran away and collected seashells. Anyway, moved on. Aratani, if you find that you want to grow herb gardens right away, go into Aratani and notice that they have gardens there. We'll do that now, just so you can see where things are at. Oh, excuse me. It costs you 10 coins for every fast travel that you do, which at the start of the game is something, but honestly, you'll be fine the whole way through. See, your healers tend to have other herbs that you can take, and again, you can make all of the bags, the seed bags, but you just need to have leather. So you can gather up all of these things, nobody will be bothered by you doing it, and you could have them just ready to go. It is helpful to gather things with a comma, but the comma's condition degrades quickly. And these are all the things you can have, like parsley, wasabi. This is a helpful way to get some of those early resources. And Iwasaki will also have little gardens, so that'll be super helpful. The easiest way for me to get to where I want my new village to be is to actually go to either Injuro or Sasogi. So I think we'll go to Sasogi, because I know Injuro is surrounded by a little bit of boars. And now we're back here. My village location that I've chosen is going to be in this route that's past our quest line. So it comes out to be in this area here. So I will see you there, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I can't start the quest lines yet, but I'm looking forward to it. So that happened. I was able to chase down a rabbit with an axe. Uh-oh. I guess I'm trouble for the rabbit population. And what I could do while I'm on the way here, I'm at this location, almost at where I want to be. I could take out my stone pickaxe and I can gather some things real quick. So as you're traveling through, it depends on what your needs are, but I kind of like having a lot of the resources at the start of my village. So I'll gather some of this and then I'll be at my locale. And I tend to look for these little bits of like, let's get ahead of things as we go, just because it will show up later and it will be one less thing for me to get later on. And this is going to be the area that I'm going to build. I rather like the fact that we have these rolling hills, we have a bamboo thicket, we have a nice view in the background. We're not far from a lot of the villages, although honestly you'll be fast traveling, right? Because we put all our stuff up here, and we have this bridge that we can work with, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. So what I want to do in this area is I want to put my bell down somewhere where I know it's going to extend far enough for me to build houses, which I'll probably end up building into these grassy areas. and then I'll do most of my farming in this lowland area. But I also need to think about where I'm going to have my logging, which will be back over there. And you will see that I have wolves in this area. Not ideal, but something that we can confront as we go. I think since I like to start with logging first, I'll probably want my bell on a portion that I can work with here. Now keep in mind, everything in this game can be moved. So if I don't like where I placed my bell, I can always move it later. I'm going to click on village structures, I'm going to go to my bell tower. It looks like we're missing one thing. I saw a red highlight. We'll get to that one in a bit. So I think what we'll do is we'll build in. We'll get the bell to be just somewhere where we'd like to have our general storage, which would be over there. And I want to make sure my buildings can go up to that hillside. So I think we'll go in here just a bit. We'll try that out. Looks like we're only short a log, so to get more logs, why not? Let's chop down some of our beech trees. And with that, we'll have our bell done, and then it's time to go back to Toshichi and get some questing done real fast at the start of the game. Now, the best things I think you could do in the intro here. There we go. Alright, since we are told that we have to build our first house, let's get that planned out and set. I figure that some of our housing we'll put over on the hillside here in this region. So let's get our first house. It'll be a small house. And then let's make sure we have a decent setup for it. And you'll notice that we need tons of logs. So the first thing we're going to end up having to do in this is we're going to have to gather a lot of logs to deal with our initial buildings. You'll notice that there are small trees that you can pull apart for sticks. And there are also other small trees that tell you get firewood and sticks. Honestly, they're not worth it. You're better off getting sticks from taking your logs later on with a woodworking station, and that will help you a lot more. You get 20 sticks per log when you use one of those workstations, and that's where I'm aiming to get, is that workstation as fast as possible. And there goes my first axe. I just recraft them because I picked up so many things. And if you craft something and there's no space, it drops straight on the ground. We'll eat the berries, and then we'll be good to go. There we go. Usually the axe, if you have an inventory slot, it just goes straight back to your hotbar spot. Alright, now, since we're full on that, we'll just run back and forth and finish building this. It will take me a little time to finish this, so I'm going to just fast forward to when the house is done. Alright, and then the reason why we gathered up all of our resources at the start is right there. Oh, I broke my hammer, and I just crafted another one. My recommendation now is take your furniture, take out your hammer, go into furniture by right-clicking, and then clicking on furniture, go to house furniture, go to beds, go to sleeping mat, and then boom, let's make a second sleeping mat. The small houses can handle 2 beds, which means now Akko and I can both sleep here, which is awesome. We could, before we move on, immediately build our general storage, which I do recommend getting your general storage done as soon as possible, just because you will have to have it in order for your villagers to accomplish any of the tasks that they are working on. I'm going to place it somewhere to start with, and I'm conveniently putting it in a way where it sits near my bell. I'm going to finish building this, and then we're going to go finish talking to Toshichi. There we are. With this storage done, what I'm going to do here is I want to get all of these things consolidated. We don't need to be carrying around all this stuff anymore. If I hold down the shift key and press left click, it will drive all of the items of that type in a stack over to my storage. So I'm just going to dump a bunch of stuff in here. I don't want to carry around a lot of these things anymore. I do want to carry some stones, but I can get them as we go. And a lot of the items in here we just have on hand. The nice thing about part of this update here is that you can now use your general storage for these things. This is a big deal, since before you had to build all of the structures. You had to build all of the different storages right away at the beginning. I'm going to keep some of these things on me because I'm going to cook them and make them. I could also take the fish with and cook that. The eggs I suppose I could cook as well. And the gobo I won't cook right away just because I'm about to get free gobo food. And this charcoal I'm keeping for a quest. With that, it's time to go back to Toshichi. The reason for having this bell so close to the general storage is I want to get places quick. And I want to be able to drop things off quick. Alright, let's go back here, talk to him. We built a house, we built the general storage, we're in a good spot. And from here, it is nighttime, it's pretty late in the day, we're trying to get somewhere. I have built a house. Alright. Yeah, and then there's a lot of storyline, and then we're asking, he asks us about these 3 quest lines. I'm rushing through it because I want you to read those storylines, but I've already seen them, and I just want to get moving. Okay, with these quest lines, we can get a lot of experience very quickly here, and I want to be able to have the woodworking table. So I want to talk to our guy here, the Impure, and they said Toshichi needs my help, and then what's his story? And then shouldn't you be helping him? How do you know? So we'll talk to the herbalist, and that'll allow us to help this guy out. The herbalist is back in the village, and if you haven't gathered up all of the straw resources yet, she's not far from there. You could easily take that and finish up there. While you're here, you could also chop down a bunch of these trees, or chop down these buildings, chop down any of these things, and get free stuff. Here's our person, and she's going to give us... She walked right through that fence. That is pretty impressive, ma'am. Alrighty, Amanda's dying, I want to help. Eat mushrooms and make medicine, and then you get to choose. And then you get to choose. I let him live. So she wants charcoal. I already have charcoal. Oh. Charcoal? I thought I had charcoal. It's right there. Ma'am, I have charcoal. Oh, I see. So that's a part of that problem where, like I said, you can't rush through it. So the easiest thing you can chop down is a burnt fence. So there we go. Ooh, but it didn't give me what I was looking for. Alright, with the axe, I can take down anything I want to get the charcoal. And let's see here. We'll take down one of these since the planks are more useful. Although I'm not really getting charcoal this time around. There we go. 1 charcoal. Now we should be able to talk to her. So it doesn't matter that I had charcoal in my inventory. It matters that I get charcoal and then bring it to her. I have the charcoal. And we wait for her to make it, and then we're good. Now at the same time, I could talk to the priestess up there, but we don't have to rush into that. Let's just finish this one up and go. And we'll talk to our friend. Alright, we get him the drink, and then he's good to go. Now, is he good to go? Kinda, sorta. Now, sometimes the guy wanders off, so it's good to just look around and find out where the exclamation point went. You there, Matsumura. Alright, he looks okay, right? There we go. There we go. We just got a bunch of unlocks. That's great. Next step is we're going to go help out the priestess, and then we're also going to help out our friend who is the warrior. And he is entertaining, to say the word, to say friend at least. Alrighty, before I get there, I like to gather up a little bit of bamboo, because I will use this in some of our construction. Although we do have bamboo in our village location, it's sometimes nice just to have this on hand as you go. Alright, here's our priestess. We'll talk to her, and I heard you need assistance. That starts us off. We can also sell to her if we want to make some coin. You're supposed to find a crow's egg. Easiest way to do that is just head down here towards the water. And then, oh, it counted it as having an egg. That's interesting. Okay, I'll take it. Then we're supposed to craft that at a campfire. Now, we haven't actually gotten Akko to be a part of our village. So since I still have a campfire over there and I need to get Akko back, we'll go there and grab that real quick and take care of that. Now that we're back with Akko here, we can talk to her and carry good news, and then we can assign. So if you press N, you're now in your dynasty storage. Or dynasty, your dynasty area, or your dynasty management. You can rename your village now, which I think for this one I'll just say, I don't know, what should we call it? Let's say Hillside. It gives me an idea of what I'm doing. I click E because if I press E, obviously it's going to type a letter E. Now I have to click on her, go to assign home, Hillside, click on the small house, and I have 2 beds, so let's give her one of the beds. I count as homeless, so I could put myself there, but I might actually put another person there. Then we can start seeing the needs of the people, and we can start making decisions on things, like this one. For heating, I don't want them burning their shoes for heating. I don't even want them using charcoal for heating. I want them using only firewood, because I don't want anything else to be available for them. Otherwise, they will burn it. So for me, I might actually keep the bark on there. That doesn't count anyway. For maintenance, I can choose which things I prefer them to use. If I don't want them wasting straw on this, then I don't want them doing it. If I don't want them using up some of my other resources, then I can choose for them not to do that. Same story for other things. Food. if you have a very specific meal that you want them to eat or you don't want them to eat, this is a great place to check that off. Alrighty, with that, you can also give them jobs, but you'll notice I don't have anywhere for her to work. We're supposed to cook these eggs, so I'm going to cook all 10 of them. You can cook just one and the quest line is good to go. We're going to end up dropping this off at a shrine on the way. If you want, and if you want to get a quick unlock of a location that you can come back to anytime, and you feel like going up to it just because it's nice to go to some of these early parts and just see things, then I recommend you go up to there. On this side over here, there's a small temple. All you have to do is run up this hill, and you'll find the temple to Jizo. I'm going to continue cooking here, and I'll see you there. So here's the pathway up here. I ran up here from down at the bottom. You'll notice that there are some neat decorations along the way. I've definitely found some loot in this area before. It doesn't look like I'm going to find it this time around. And now here we have this shrine. There used to be chrysanthemums around here, but I do not see them, so they must bloom in a different season. So that's too bad. When you come here, you can put a flower on here to give an offering. Otherwise, it's just a shrine. And I can't do anything with it this time around since I have no chrysanthemums. There we go. But you do get a nice video animation to show. I'm going to skip them, have you just do that. There we go. Alrighty. I'm going back to the fast travel location. And, well, I'm going back to Sasogi because we're going to go to the priestess Chime. From here, if you so choose to just go on to the quest line, it's just down this road. You're going to find that the exclamation point does a great job of marking it for you. You're going to end up going around and up a hill. I've found that it's easier if you go up this hill this side. It's just quicker. And if you notice that your character is low on stamina and having trouble regenerating, it's a great time for you to eat some of the food you made. Don't eat all of your eggs, obviously, if you made a bunch of cooked eggs, because you need one of those for your turn-in for the quest. So I tend to go up this way, sneak through the bamboo, and then try to see if I can find a nice convenient rock to climb. There we go. And you'll end up in a nice bamboo thicket. I could have just ran up with the river, it turns out. And as we go up to here, you'll find that we're near the shrine. There it is. And this shrine will be for Inari, and then we can finish our quest line. Again, you'll get your animation. I'm skipping them all. I hope you enjoy them. I do love the art style that they went with. Click on that, and there we go. We've gotten our offering, and now we can run faster, which is pretty handy. So we'll go to our next person, which, while we're traveling, it's just straight out from here, and then down to the pathway here. So from this hillside, we're going to be able to catch up with this person that we're supposed to help out shortly. This little outpost is where we're going to find our warrior, we'll say. He's a really entertaining fellow. So we'll talk to him. And need some help, huh? Yep, we'll help you, because he's got some kid who he's forcing to be feeding him and taking care of him, and I know from my playthroughs I haven't really enjoyed this character, so I tend to not help him. I help this kiddo out, I don't help him out. Alright, trainee. Hey, you said you had a task. You look distraught. Ah, yes. Okay, so now we do actually have to get a knife and a spear. That's unfortunate, because I already have the equipment to make it. Knife. We're going to need a log. So we'll get us a log and we'll have a spear. Once we're done with that, we'll be able to hunt. Alright, then. So now, that's the thing I've noticed with this one again. So I told you that, I already had a spear, obviously, right? Oh, I didn't actually craft a spear this playthrough. I see. I decided to not make the spear because I did all my running. Anyway, so I made the spear and I have extra logs. And now I've already killed the animals before, so I already have meat, so it's convenient that I have that. We'll build ourselves a campfire. We'll do our fast clicking, and then we'll cook the meat. We only have to cook 3. And if you didn't already have meat on hand, 1 rabbit will do it, which is really handy. And because I, don't want Smokey the Bear to come find me, I tend to do that. Get rid of those extra things. Plus, we don't need an extra object in the environment taking up any processing time. We can build those in our village. Alright, man. I've cooked the meat. Now, this is where you just get to decide what you want to do. I end up helping the kiddo out because I figure he's better off as a monk than he is a warrior. So I'd rather that he ends up in a different spot. And this guy, I don't know about this Kongoyo bite guy. Alrighty, then he gets all mad. Alrighty, done. So now we've completed all the quest lines. It is time to go back to Sosogi. Now with that, we've completed the 3 quest lines that Toshichi has asked us to do, which means we are going to have a nice set of experience points to cash in on. And that means we are going to be able to build the woodworking hut, which is the only workstation that I care about at the start of the game, honestly. Alrighty, I'm helping neighbors, and I'm telling all about these things, and great. And then he tells me how we've done a great job. Alrighty, wave the leader. Now, with that, with our character, I pressed N. I'm going to Legend, which shows us our unlocked skill points. I'd like to have my selling first off because I'm going to sell. It would have been nice to do that earlier. The initial relationship, I don't tend to care about that one, so I avoid it. Craftsman, we'll take efficient craftsman, and also a lumberjack because chopping out trees quicker. Why not? Haven't gotten this yet because we need to strike more trees, and we have both shrines unlocked, so that's great. Alright, from there, we have done it. We are at Dynasty level 4. I should be able to build the woodworking table, and that's really all I need. And now we have to get to Dynasty level 7. I already have this one, as I told you, to pick up that Shrine's questline. That's really nice. And then we need to have her join our village, and that's the last major thing to do in this particular area, aside from the small bridge project that is not far away in here. Man, she is a long walk in here, isn't she? Usually she's by the front. Alright, I want to help you with that. Make a bridge, great, and then we'll do it. Pick a home for her. So that's why we have our 2 beds, by the way. We click on that, we click on assign home, we put her into the small house with that bed. Perfect. Now, we've unlocked more things. How about that? We have a lot of things that we can work with, and the end of the day has already happened. We're at the start of a new day. We have a ton of things we can build, and I think at this point, for me, the next step is to build that woodworking hut. Alright, so I'm going to go to the fast travel location, and we're going to go to our new village, and with that, hillside, I want to build my woodworking station. I'm going to need, oh look at that, see, already we have refugees coming by our place. If we build a house, they will have somewhere to live. I'm going to build the woodworking station across the water. Now, honestly, well actually no, here, tell you what, let me be smart about my ideas here. I'm going to build it here. The reason why I'm building it here is I want it to be easy to access. I just want to be able to walk up to it and use it right off the bat. I will definitely be rebuilding things and moving things later. But for now, I want things easy to access. This tree's in the way, so goodbye. This does get you firewood and sticks, but honestly, it's not enough to talk about. With that, we'll build our production building. We're right-clicking and going to buildings, and then going to production buildings, and then going to woodworker's hut. There we go. And then it's all a matter of getting the logs. So I'll see you after I've gathered up a number of logs. And all the axes you go through at the start here. Alright, as we finish this one up, my quick tip for y'all is, first thing I want to do with this station is I want to right click. I'm going to go to furniture. I'm going to go to production building furniture. And I'm going to go to my woodworking station. And I'm going to go to carpentry station. And I'm going to say, please add another one of these. Because if I click on N and I go to population, I'd like to click on their jobs here. I click on assign job, woodworking station, yes. And then from here, I want them to gather logs for me. I'm going to start out by wanting them to have these beautiful logs. I want the premium coniferous from some of my workers because I think they look nicer as planks on things. You'll notice that it says they have no tools. Oh, we'll take care of that shortly here. Assigning jobs, same story. I want to have you working here. Let's do some more premium coniferouses, and let's also get regular coniferous, just so we're building this up. Next thing we have to do is we have to build a bunch of stone axes. So you'll need a lot of sticks, but I believe we've spent a lot of time gathering up sticks before. Looks like we're almost out though already, aren't we? So from here, for what we need to do, we need rocks. I'm going to left click. I'm going to hold down shift and left click, and that drops all those stones into my inventory. And then I need to gather some more sticks just so that we're ready to go. You can gather these small trees to be sticks, and that helps a lot. Or you can go to bushes, and those bushes will give you sticks as well. Or let's just make 9 because I know I'll break an axe real quick here. Now the way that they change things is you can just place all of your items in the general storage. tools are supposed to go in the general storage, which is really handy. So for now, this is ideal. So I have this, I will hold down shift and left click, and each of these things will just instantly drop into there. And now I have 8 in here. I'll press N, and I'll go to my population. Click on this, it says manage job, and I'm going to left click and assign them some axes. You will notice that they don't get a lot of logs for some. Premium coniferous is 6 versus 2 more for coniferous. It's fine. We need better tools for them. At the start of the game here, I'm going to recommend that when you get tools, it's easier as a character, I find, that you just use the wooden hammer and use the stone axe, because you can craft them in an instant. And the iron axe doesn't last much longer than your axe will for the jobs you're doing. But I would definitely use those iron axes for my villagers because they produce more logs and I want that. With that, the village is essentially started. We have everything we need to go from here. The next things I need to do is I need to clear some areas so that I can start having my rice paddies in this region, and I'm going to build more houses. But I already have workers who are getting things for me. I have a refugee we can hire on. I'm going to expand the village here, and I'll end up going to Aratani, and I'll end up getting some of those bags for us to use. Speaking of which, I believe I do have some things to put into here. I will have you note, though, that at the start of the game, when you're building your fields, it only takes sticks for a land field, and for a water field you need clay and you need stone. My location is not good for clay. I have to travel over to the lake right here, which has lots of enemies and things to hunt down. It's not bad. I can also gather up clay back here at Sasobi, which is what I'll definitely do. With that, this is a great start. You have everything you need if you've built in your location and you've kind of followed this progression line. You have woodworkers who are going to get you logs. You have a general storage which is taking care of needs. You already have a house and 2 people. You're ready to go and launch yourself into this game. I hope you enjoy your playthrough. I'll continue to make episodes of this as we go, and I'm grateful for having you here. Have a wonderful rest of your day.